Sweet, we are live. Hello, everyone. We are back on Kimchi's episode, and we have a very special guest. Her name is Tara, and she is a hair salon and an educator owner. And she also has experiences with recessions in the past and how you can recover your businesses. So, because of her business consulting, her coaching and consulting also applies to any other industry as well. So, without further ado, I introduce you to Tara.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for spending some time with us today.
Awesome. I'm excited. So tell us a little bit about your background. Like what was your why? How did you start?
I have a really funny starting story, actually. I was one of the people who kind of did hair at home all growing up and just kind of had natural talent for it. I tried everything I could to not be a hairdresser. And I did the strangest jobs. I was the door-to-door Kirby vacuum cleaning salesperson. I worked
Yeah.
in finance some. So I actually got busted for doing hair without a license, to be honest. And that's how I've become a hairdresser. I was working a finance department and state board showed up there and actually gave me the ultimatum that I could enroll in beauty school and they would just, let it go. Or if I didn't, that they would put me on the blacklist and I would never be able to obtain cosmetology license. So I asked my boss if I could go to school and if he would, allow me to work around the schedule. He said, yeah. And so that was it. I jumped in kind of like haphazardly and just went
Yeah.
for it. It was like, everything's pushing me towards this. So I'm going to just give it a go.
That's awesome. And how long have you been in the hairstyling industry for now?
So I've been in the industry for 20 years. I've been a salon owner now for the past 11, and I have 2 locations, but this is actually the 3rd salon I've opened. So I've been through the opening process and what that looks like quite a few times. And I've seen lots of things happen throughout the years that I've been an owner. I worked for other people for about 7 years before I decided to go into business for myself. So I went in with experience. I feel like it's very important for people to learn from others and have that mutual support in a salon type atmosphere in the beginning. And I see a lot of people come out, go straight booth rent. I understand all the reasonings for that. I was booth rent once myself, but I also understand that you don't know what you don't know. And so in those beginning years, I stuck with salons and tried to always work for people that pushed and challenged me.
Mm.
So I can learn and absorb as much as possible. And later, once I went into business for myself, now I'm trying to pass that on, right, to my staff and show them the way and be their encourager. But I really love the industry. It's something I'm super, super passionate about. But in the beginning of opening my salon, I opened right after the '08 recession. So everybody
Wow.
said, you're insane. What are you doing opening a salon? I opened January 1st, 2009. But I made sure it worked. And I think that's something to pass on to people that are considering opening salons because there are some that are saying, you know what, I'm gonna start. And there's people that are graduating cosmetology school, entering the workforce at this time as well. And there's also salons going out of business. I don't know if you've checked Facebook Marketplace, but
Yeah.
it's full of salon equipment, right? So knowing a plan and knowing your numbers before you start. And I think if you are currently a salon owner, looking at your numbers if you don't know them for what they truly are and looking where you stand. I see people throwing around the idea of like, do we discount or do we do this or do we raise our prices when we go back? There's
Yeah.
all these patter, right?
Yeah.
There's not a one size fits all answer to that. If you are currently going to increase your pricing, I wouldn't say stop, definitely
Yeah.
continue forward, but does it mean you necessarily go in and jack it up because you know that there's going to be more demand for your business? I don't necessarily think so. Although I'm not also in the boat of throwing a discount. No. But I said is know your numbers. Are you actually profiting at the price you charge now? And I knew going into it, no matter how bad the economy was back then,
Yeah.
I knew that I was able to make it work out to where I basically was running less in my salon space than I would have if I had to booth rent from somebody. So it was a no-brainer. I was like, done. I mean, worst case scenario, I'm going to just have to go work for a corporate salon somewhere, you know? And it worked. We were profitable day one in our business. I waited till I outgrew my space tremendously, like a 4-chair salon with 6 stylists working in it before I opened the second location. And I think, like many people in business, they believe you go big and better. The bigger it gets, the better it gets, and all this glory. And we're going to do nails, and we're going to do facials, and we're going to do all this other stuff we never had the space for. And it wasn't the best business decision. It worked for the years that I was there. I was happy with it. But at 26 employees, I wasn't happy managing that amount of staff on my own without a support system. That's my bad as an owner for not building that support system in before going big. So I've went through walkouts, and I think a lot of salon owners are going to experience that right now during the virus. There's going to be people that are making more on unemployment than coming back to work for you. And that's the sad truth, is some people are not making enough money behind the chair to make more than what they can make sitting at home on their unemployment if they're getting that added $600, right?
Wow.
So for me, it's a bit different. My people are W-2, and I'm looking at getting the payroll protection loan to bring them back on and just keep them at a higher wage weekly and I'll give them things to do. They can color extensions or do something, but all in all, you got to know, are you able to run a profit with what you're doing currently? And taking a look at that. This is a great time to reset your business and look at all your pricing for what it is, instead of looking at, do I raise it or do I give discounts? Why don't you just look at where your profit margin rests, right? Mm-hmm. And many of us fail to do that. The numbers are scary, right?
It's pretty scary. And especially because you're opening it up, and it's like something like, it's like standing on a weighing machine. You're like, oh, I need to know my numbers, but I have to. You just don't want to dip your toe on it, and you have to. And as sad as it sounds, like many of us operate in a place of scarcity. So we tend to say things like, oh, let's discount our prices, rather than, hey, let's raise our value. But the most important thing that you brought up is check your profit margins, and that's where you can start.
Exactly. And knowing what that is, I think a lot of us, we run off of emotion. We're really busy. We feel really good, and we think we're making money, and we're slow and we think we make none. An interesting exercise to do, if there's owners listening, is when your staff feels really slow, down, dead time in the salons, which we probably won't experience when we open back up. But when that happens, I feel like they get discouraged, and they tend to not perform as well because they don't feel like they are making any money or they're doing any good. But sometimes those weeks, they actually make more money per hour than if they were busy doing silly stuff throughout the week on things that they thought they were busy. And I would compare those weeks sometimes for my staff. Mm-hmm. And I would say, last week you thought that you were making, so much money, but like, look how much work you were putting in to try to hit that number. And this week, you feel slow, but numbers wise, because you did different types of services that have higher profit margins, then you did make more. You just had downtime to sit. And I think a lot of times they don't see that. And it's really easy in the beginning when you're building clientele to let those dull times of a quiet space really drag down your mental stability, like how you feel building your business behind the chair, right? So coaching to that point, I usually say it's not what you're doing now or this week or today that's causing this drought. It's what you were doing 6 weeks ago. So essentially, we all are sitting 6 weeks to when we're going to open. Some of us are getting closer to the threshold, depending on what state or area you're in. Or Australia hadn't shut down at all. They're still not told to shut down.
I heard, yeah.
When you're looking at it, it's like, okay, what could I be doing 6 weeks in advance to reopening that's going to set me up for success? Because I think a lot of us are just sitting down and we're like, well, this is a nice break. Well, yeah, it is a nice break. You don't have to work on your business 24/7, but every single day you're going to have to pitch in a little bit if you're wanting to come back and not be dead. Because there's going to be so many salons out there that are opening earlier, staying open later, and doing anything and everything they can to accommodate the demand that's going to be there. Do you have a plan in action for what that looks like for you?
Mm,
Will you get so swamped that you turn business away because you didn't know how to handle it? For me, that looks like working with two apprentices. I don't want them to be four hands on one client right now. We're looking at distancing and even going back into the salon. I think that's still going to be a little bit of a thing. But does that mean I know that 50% of my clientele is men? I know my audience. I know that their haircuts are far grown out. Some will shave their heads. Yes. Some will not. They're just going to get shaggy and want a really nice cleanup. So when that happens, I know I can put apprentices on all my 50 plus age group women that are coming in for gray root touch because they trust my apprentices, and it's a gray root touch. The color's already dialed into the computer. I'm oversight with the formulation and mixing, and it goes on. Could I not compartmentalize to throw in all those people to apprentices that I'm paying hourly wages, and I focus on the cutting? That's more,
mm,
that's more expensive service, and time wise is quick. So I'm doing cut after cut after cut, still one on one, and they're staying one on one, and they're knocking out those services. So we're going to have to change things a little bit.
yes,
Things are going to look different when we go back.
definitely. And I really like that because now is the best time to systemize your processes, because maybe some things that would take an hour or 2 hours can be significantly decreased to 40% of it, right? And just figuring out, okay, here are the chess pieces. How can I move it in places where when we're expecting the grand opening, there's going to be a surge of people.
Mhm.
All right, what are the strategies you have in place that's going to streamline that and at least mitigate as much loss as possible? Because yes, the last thing you want to do is turn clients down because
Mhm.
because of how many people are in. So I don't know how it is in where you're at right now in your country, but we just don't know when we're going to get the call of reopening. So that
Right.
when that happens, this is the best time to start planning, because I would say at least 80% of us are kind of just gave up and we're just sitting on our couches. But as you mentioned, this is the time to plan. This is the time to prepare
Well,
because
let me ask you this. Let's
okay,
just, for instance, the country says, after consideration, you're able to open for business tomorrow. How many of you right now go, I'm not ready? Like, really? Like, I'm
yes,
not ready. Like, do you have your color inventory already sitting there ready? Are you going back in, like, and having to reevaluate your inventory, make sure that you have all the five, level 5 hair colors that you need in stock to handle this demand? People's roots are going to be longer than average. You're going to be using more color. Have you thought about the conversation about how much extra color cost? Or are you the type of hairstylist that gives that away? Do you not charge by the ounce that you use anyway? And are you able to consider the extra amount of money it's going to take to now do that root touch up, when it's 2 months drawn out instead of one? So we have systems in place in my salon that cover that already. We weigh everything. We do charge what we consider an overlay charge for any additional 10 grams that we mix. So we do have, that's common language, right? So I don't really have
yeah,
to tackle that much with my clients, but that might be a new topic in some salons that don't have those systems in place currently, because it is going to eat into your profit a bit.
yes.
Mhm.
So on top of preparing those kind of things and having the right stock and having like just the right like forecasts, what can salon owners and barbershop owners do right now to do their marketing, to handle promotions? Because right now it's like they have a lot of excuses like, oh, the shop's not open, oh, we can't cut, I don't want to risk anyone. But there's still time to still become relevant, still get your brand out there. What would you say to them right now?
So the main thing is, how are you being seen? And how do you want to be seen? Do you want to not be seen? Do you want them to forget that you exist? And I'm not saying, do you have to go in every single day and say something? I'm not going to say do this to hit the algorithm. I'm saying what message are you conveying to the audience if they're listening to you? You know, are you giving them the, hey, I'm in isolation and I'm doing the best I can and I'm taking these classes and I can't wait to see you? Are you being completely silent? They don't know what happened to you. Maybe they're fearful that you might be sick, or they're just wondering why you're not saying anything. Sometimes when you say nothing at all, that speaks louder than words. We say this.
Mhm.
So making sure that you're getting the correct message out there, you know, and then solve some pain points. You know, for me, I'll give away what I'm doing. I need engagement on my page. I don't want my page to die. So, and I've done disappearing December. I know what it does in the algorithm for long periods of time. So, and I love Gary Vee for that. But
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, I went on and I was like, I'm going to just give away some things. And I didn't know what to give away. And I needed to kind of prod my audience for some information and pain points. So I was like, what's a dream service or product you would love to have from Tmac's Hair Studio right now? Because we're in the mode of making dreams come true. So
Wow.
comment after comment is specifically telling me, what do they want?
I see.
Now, my entire marketing strategy over the next 30 days is based off that one post, because that one post had 26 comments.
Yes, that's
ideas. That's 26 leads of what I need to be speaking on so they'll hear me. And what did it cost me? I picked a random person. I gave away a sea salt spray because that's what her wish was, and made her dream come true. Bam. It didn't cost me but maybe $20 all in all. And I didn't have to sponsor the ad. I'm speaking to my audience that's already relevantly following my page and looking for what I'm saying, right? Now, what's the chances that those people are going to continue looking day after day to see what it is that Tara is giving away? So then I can move into things that are now sellable goods instead of gifts, because they're trusting me. So next I move into maybe packaging together a service for whenever you go back with some retail products, $75, $150 worth of things. Send me $1 to our PayPal and I'll enter you for this.
Wow.
Who cares about $1? Throw $1 at it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But how many times do you think that post is going to be seen and people are going to want to say, I love her. It usually costs me $300 to get my hair done at Tmac. I'll throw $1 in to get a chance to do it for nothing. All of them.
Wow.
Because they want that. And then getting them into replying back to you so that other customers are seeing their testimonials. It's huge. They're saying what products they love that you have, and you're not paying them for it.
Wow. Wow. So viewers, make sure you take notes on that. So these are some very, very valuable points, because I notice a lot of owners, and sometimes they're a little bit more of the I guess older generation, and they seem pretty disconnected from social media. And now I'm trying to realize, this is your chance. This is like, you have the time, you have the resources, and even if you have that fear or you're kind of scared to do it, just try it out. Like, it won't hurt, because we got so much free time on our hands.
I'm going to give away my age a little bit. So I graduated college before social media was a thing. And so that means that I started my business the old school, like business card on windshield in the grocery store, like the old ways of doing business. But I too have a large group of clientele. They're not on social media. They're just not. They're my age and older, where that wasn't a thing. So I have to communicate to those guests differently. And I think that's another thing is, do you know how your guest is showing up for you? I have a different message that goes on TikTok than goes on Instagram, that goes on Facebook. Sometimes the Facebook and Instagram overlay because it's just so easy to share across those platforms.
Yes.
But LinkedIn is a different, completely different. And then I have guests that I know will only see if I email direct to them. And that's kind of like back in the day, that was our direct mail, where I would sit and handwrite thank you letters and say, so glad you come to see me for your hair color, your dog's super cute, whatever it is, notes I took on that client for that visit. We used to hand write cards to these people. We used to hand send out birthdays and all these cool little things to our guests. That was part of the older marketing that stylists learned to do. Now everything's social media, virtual, which is great. I love the technology, and it's really cool for me to learn all the new ways of doing things. But there's something to be said about the old ways too. Getting back into your email box and sending a personal email, not a mass email, like actually touch base with Sally and say, hey, Sally, I just been worried about you and Joe and wanted to make sure that you're doing well. So sorry that we're not at the salon this month. Can't wait to see you again. A little personal sentence goes a long way, with building that relationship with your guest. And that's what's going to keep them waiting on you. And when I say waiting on you, not just waiting to get back into the salon. I mean, when they call and you say the next 2 days are slammed, it'll be 3 days before I can get you in for that root touch. And the thing is, I can't even do it for you this time. I'm going to have to let my apprentice do it for you, but I'm going to be here and I'm going to be able to see you and hopefully hug you again. That's going to make them still say, I'm going to wait 3 days and let her apprentice do it. Because that trust and that relationship that you've already curated with that guest.
Crazy. And just to add on to that with my experiences, I was in that panic mode for a bit and I realized, wait, what am I doing? And so I exported my clientele list to an Excel sheet. And what I've done was I actually went from A to Z. So I still have to go through it. There's so many names, but let's say the first batch is A. I went to each number and I would call them saying, hey, so-and-so, it's Kim, like, how are you doing? What have you been up to? Like, I just want to make sure you're safe. How's your family? And you're not trying to sell them anything or just trying to like get them back on the product. It's just because you reached out, because you cared, psychologically, they're going to be on your mind. So time you make a post or you make a promotion or even do a donation, they're going to support you because it's just reciprocation at that point. And if you can continue that and just duplicate the process, and then next thing you know, it adds up.
Oh, for sure. My nail lady, I have crazy long nails. I love them. And because we're both owners of businesses in the salon industry, we checked on each other, I think, because of that as well. But to know that she still, even days after we initially was like, hey, is your salon open? Is yours open? What are you doing? She still, as a client, checked on me. Like, just not about nails, just how are you and your family? Are you okay? And that was another, aha for me to be like, all right, well, Tammy knows what she's doing. She's reaching out individually to all these guests, retaining them because she is a salon owner, but she's essentially like a small booth suite of her own. So she needs to stay in contact with those guests because they're going to go to whatever nail salon opens their doors back up. I know that I was here doing my own acrylics and it sucks. So the people that are used to that kind of high maintenance nail care, they're going to jump right back into the first place they can get into unless they're super committed to that artist. So, and we could all learn lessons from that, barbering as well. There's going to be people that shave their head and don't care. And the people that are just not letting anyone else touch their head. I know who those boys are that are on my list that are wishing I was still cutting hair right now.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I went out and reached out to each person and I called them and I even in any medium, texting, calling, DMing messages, whatever, Facebook post. And I actually asked feedback from them. So taking that strategy that you have, I actually went to ask feedback. I collected that. And then I saw a pattern based off the commonalities, and I was just like, all right, well, what can I do to best serve those that what would they want? What can I do for this situation? And then I came up with a remote workshop. So it's like, okay, if you're gonna cut your boyfriend's hair or you're gonna cut your own hair, why not make it look good, right? If you're gonna butcher your hair, at least learn new skills. So last night around 6 o'clock, we threw a workshop and we had about 5 signups. So, and every single person that cut their boyfriend's hair, it was their first time, and I think they did an amazing job, right? And I didn't have to teach them complicated methods. I just told them, like, hey, try this angle, try that. Don't be afraid, push harder. And next thing you know, like, it was a masterpiece, I think, and it was crazy because we had about maybe the views were adding. Like I think it's only been like 12 hours and it's like already at 150 views. So that's still a significant amount of people. And like people are like tagging their before and afters, and now they're spreading the word. And next thing you know, I got another 6 more inquiries. They're like, when's your next workshop? I'm like, well, this is awesome. So
Yes, absolutely. You know, in my career, I've had that happen to me in real life multiple times where a female's entered my business with the male and was like, look, we're really interested in your haircuts. We're only here for a short amount of time. We're leaving town again. Can I watch, you know, what you're doing so that while we're on the road, I can just keep him up? And why not serve this girl? And here's what I always go back to in this scenario.
yeah.
I can give a baker my recipe, but that doesn't mean they can bake the same cake as me. And I know this from educating and teaching forever. You know, I can sit in a workshop all day with a group of stylists and teach them and give them from my heart everything. I can regurgitate all things I can remember and give it to them. Retention wise, 10% of it is what they may hang on to.
Yes.
So an uneducated stylist of any sort, you know, a non-licensed normal civilian watching or being instructed one time to do a haircut, if you think that you're giving away all your trade secrets, you're crazy. You know, and that's not to say that I at all hate on the people who are saying I'm not sharing with anyone because I paid, you know, my way through school and this is my license expertise and I don't want to share. If that's how you feel, cool. But also, like you sharing and giving it away, I'm not going to hate on that either, because you're not really giving away everything. You know, they're going to get some good information, they're going to love it, and then they're probably going to forget it.
Mm-hmm. And then usually, then typically they will come back and they'll be like, hey, can I have some more? Like, how do they do that? And then now it's like, okay, well, is this going to be a private one-on-one or what? Like, you know?
Right. Oh, and I've seen many stylists recently doing some short things on YouTube. And then before they get into the big thing, it's like, hey, you know, pay me $5 to get the end of the video and I'll show you how to do it at home. I'm not going to hate on that. And you got to make money however you got to make money. And if someone wants to pay to learn how to properly touch their roots up at home, who am I to say that you can't show them that?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Right.
Even I'm getting a lot of like, whoa, like there's a lot of nice information. Like,
hey, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Oh, definitely. This is crazy. So the next question is, so when we have hair salons and owners or of the sorts thinking about, okay, what can I do to prepare? So for example, preparing for the rush, preparing for the surge, also staying relevant online on the marketing space. But in terms of like delivering value, so that, okay, how would a beginner, or I guess a uneducated person in terms of the marketing space would get started? Because they're like, okay, well, what can I do to get the products out? I'm a nobody. I'm not really an influencer. What are the kind of things to kind of like at least get them started and kind of get off that mental roadblock?
So in forms of how to get them started, because I could go in so many directions with this question.
Yeah, my brain's like that.
There's let's just say you have no followers and you're building clientele and you want to know basically how to mentally prepare for going forward. I would say know your why. Let me challenge you there. Do you even know your why? And there, you know, the book is laying around here somewhere. I was going to grab it, but you know, it's a great book if you guys haven't read it yet. Know your why. But knowing exactly why you're doing what you're doing, and I did not figure this out for a very long time in business, and it comes down to, and I'm probably going to butcher it trying to remember what I exactly wrote down, but I wrote it down in my journal, and it's basically, I had to learn that I wasn't responsible for my staff being in a shit mood for the day, or, you know, for something personal that went on, or how every little detail happened throughout the day. I had to sit back and really learn that I'm responsible for creating a safe environment for them to come to work in and to complete the services for the clients that they need. And the flow is more what I'm really the only concern I should be, right?
Yeah.
So then it was like, what is my actual, why am I doing any of this? Because I love what I do. I love teaching. I was so broad. And then it really come down to, I'm trying to create an excellent customer experience to provide for my family, period.
Mm.
And in that comes loving my staff and educating them and creating the space for them to provide that experience. But it all boils down to my why is to create a perfect client experience in order to create an income for a life of my family. And if it doesn't align with that, it's a no. Absolute no. And whenever you really know your why, then you can apply that to every question. So if your why is whatever, and you want to apply that to building a clientele, are you waking up every day and doing the things you need to do today to show up 6 weeks later with a clientele? So it all ties back into this, way back into the beginning of our conversation, is setting yourself up for success 6 weeks in the future. Don't wait for 6 weeks to show up in your face and be sitting here going, well, I'm behind the 8 ball and, I'm just kind of getting defeated. You're getting defeated because you didn't start yet.
Yes.
Just start. And know your why behind why you're doing what you're doing. You will not fail if you just always align with your own beliefs and don't deviate from that. Just align to what you want to do. If you want to build a clientele, show up every single day, however your clientele will see you. I don't know what that looks like for you as an individual, but if your clients are in their 20s, they're probably on Instagram. I would probably go there.
Yeah.
If your clients are 50 plus, they're probably not. You might want to start emailing them.
Yes.
People are visual. Even if they are 50 plus, doesn't mean that they can't get your Instagram content, record it, and email it to them. They'll watch a brief little video and email, so getting all that written down and putting it into play now. So in 6 weeks, you're set, right? If people are getting emails from you daily or weekly with videos or touch and base here and there, maybe they don't open every single one of them, but they know you're showing up.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I would say for anyone getting started is know your why and show up. Just show up for yourself.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, that's really good information. I think one of our viewers asked a question right before we wrap this up. Let's see. Is it usually a success to raise funds for promotions like that $1 PayPal example you mentioned?
So yes and no. It depends. People also want to hate on Groupon and say it's the most horrible thing in the world, but I've used it for 11 years because I don't use Groupon to make money. Groupon is a marketing expense for my business. If you structure your Groupon correctly, I structured mine with so much added value, like you were saying, not discounts, added value. That after I pay my staff up to 52% commission, I still retain at least $1. $1 is $1, right? I don't want to go in the red. Now, if you don't sell an add-on service, retain the client, get them to pre-book and come back again, we might start losing money. But I'm willing to write that off as a marketing expense. So Groupon flashes my name all over the pretty little internet for free.
Wow.
So people look at things differently. And so I would say if I valued a gift basket at $100, if it's all retail, we know that that's only $50 our cost.
Yeah.
So if I say you're going to get $75 of value out of all these things, and I would make it fit the needs and pain points of the guest, right? Is your hair starting to turn a bit brassy and yellow? We're going to have some Conquer Blonde shampoo in here that's purple. That's going to take care of that problem. I'm going to, whatever it is that my target clientele is looking for, curate to that. Now I know if they're looking at $100 worth of stuff getting excited, I know all I need is 50 people to give me $1 and I might break even already. So if you don't think you can get 50 people to buy in at $1, then you need to start lowering your gift basket until that accommodates your threshold. Start small. If you want to just start giving away a hairbrush and a detangling spray, do that and start small. That way that you know your audience and how much they're playing with you, and then you'll know how high you can go on bidding. But I would say never do it with the intentions of not making money or breaking even on it.
Of course, 100%. Because I find that some people would go far to the left route and they would go for the donations, the charitable work, but there's no, and I'm not saying that there's a bad intention to it, but there's no actual return. So then at the end of it, they're like, well, I feel good for the first 2 hours, but I didn't really strategize on it. It didn't really benefit my brand.
And that's the other thing. Is the strategy for me to make money on the giveaway? No. The strategy is to break even and not lose money. The strategy is I'm getting engagement. I'm keeping my page count high. I'm keeping things going viral with my logo on it. I could care less if only 2 people comment on something. If I've seen that 1,900 people viewed it, I know 1,900 times Tmac's logo popped in their face.
Yes.
That's the number I care about. People scroll past all the time and never click, but they read the whole thing. So look at that, right? Think about, and are you branding? I mean, sharing things without your logo, without any branding, without getting seen for anything other than copying the words of other people or sharing somebody else's content isn't helping your brand. So you'll see a lot of the things I do, I'm putting my face in the background or my logo on it. And it's not because I'm egotistical. It's because I know you don't know what piece of content will go viral and when it will go viral. And you're going to be really sad when you look back at that post and you're like, wow, I didn't even hashtag my business on that one.
Wow.
It's all been there, right? Where you forgot a hashtag and you're like, oh.
Definitely. And also a good part is when people start reposting your content, like let's say you wake up in the morning, like, whoa, what the heck? Like 20 people reposted my, that's when you know.
Yes. And you want your logo and branding to be there because let's say it's shared 3 times down the road and now your tag's lost off of it somehow. If you're in the background of the image branding wise, they can always look you back up, you know. And I find that a lot of times where I'm like, I know that this has been shared a bunch of times. This isn't the original content creator, but at least they're, you know, trademarked in the background where I can find them.
Definitely. Awesome. So for you viewers out there, is there any questions you guys have left just before we end the interview? And Kyle Taylor says, and can people become skeptical if you're not a reputable company? So I guess tying back to what she said was the same thing. Just get your logo out there.
And it's about don't be pitchy. Don't make it sales pitchy. Make it as a gift back to you guys. You know, like I've done some that were free. I was doing one that was like, you know, post what it is that is your dream service from Tmac, and I'm going to make your dreams come true. And then they were just posting things that they wanted, you know. So I gave something away in that instance. I didn't charge anything for anything. I was giving away product. I think if you have a common mixture of giveaways before, which I spoke about a bit ago, have some intermixing of that. I'm not just charge. I hadn't ran any of the ones I'm charging for as of yet. All I've done up to this point has been give.
Yes. I really like that. And I think that's the most important direction that a lot of us need to be doing in these times, because giving, in order to get, you need to give. And again, like, I understand where people are coming from when it comes to the whole scarcity mindset, or we have to contract, or I don't want to do free things and stuff like that. But it's just really think about it. What if you don't give, right? You want to reframe that. What if you don't do this? What if you don't do that? And then again, tying it back to your why, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Awesome. So yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah, I'm learning a lot from you too. This is crazy. Wow. But yeah, if you guys want to reach out to Tara, we'll have the link in the comment section below or in the description. So check out our website, check out our group, like her page, give this a like, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, feel free to give her a friend request, ask some questions. She'll definitely help you out in terms of education, coaching, and it doesn't have to be a hair salon or barbershop. Like she's got strategies that are applicable to any industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Until next time.
Thank you. Bye.